Hello.
Logan,
What's going on, bud?
how's it going?
How are you?
Great, great. It's like, I don't know, 15 degrees outside, so and about 2 feet of snow, but we're doing good inside.
All right, good deal. So where are you at? Where are you from?
We're right by Husets, actually. We live in northwest Iowa, but we're about 20 minutes from Husets Speedway.
All right. I saw a photo of Todd Queering the other day. He's out in a snowmobile, so I bet it's pretty cold up there. I wouldn't.
Yeah, it is. It's chilly. But it could be way worse. Yeah, about 3 weeks ago, we were having like 40, 50 below wind chill. So we'll definitely take this weather.
Yeah. Well, we can still golf around here, so it ain't too bad. You can still be outside in PA.
We got to find a simulator somewhere to golf here, so.
Yeah, there you go.
Well, we don't have to go that far south. No. So, I mean, I gotta.
You can come to Florida in a few weeks.
What's that?
You can come to Florida in a few weeks.
We could. That ain't that far off anymore, is it?
Now, about 3 weeks, we get started at Volusia. Well, I guess it's a little bit longer than that. We're planning on running Sonoya beforehand in Georgia. So first week of February.
All right. We'll probably we might not make it to Florida. Well, the one brother is down there. Yeah. One brother's down there, but we'll probably just sit in the garage and watch them here.
Yeah, Dirt Vision works too.
Yeah. That's what we're doing right now. We got Flo on 2 TVs, so we're watching the body cars out in Arizona and watching the Chili Bowl, of course.
Yeah, I was flipping back and forth a little bit. I got the Chili Bowl on in the background.
Yeah. So if there's a lull in our questions, something exciting happened on the TV and we got distracted.
Yeah.
All right. So this is pretty easy on our end. I mean, we don't get into anything too wild or crazy. But we'll kind of just actually start, Logan, kind of how you grew up into racing and stuff like that, and kind of evolve into World of Outlaws, and then we have some questions. We'll end it with some rapid fire questions. After a little bit, we'll take a little break. It's just for a computer thing, and then we'll get right back to it. We don't want to take more of your time. We just really appreciate you doing this. So.
Sure, sorry it took so long. We tried for a little bit, and it seemed like every time you said something was going on. So I'm glad we were able to work it out.
Logan, here's what I will tell you. We're just peons, but you have been very, very good with responding. I'm just saying, a lot of race car drivers, like, they might respond once to me, and it's like I got everything going, and then I don't hear from them again. So, I mean, I really appreciate you for always responding to us and getting back to us. So, we really, truly do appreciate this. So, we'll get going, and we'll go from there. I'll let you.
Okay, sounds good, guys.
Go ahead, bud. Get to the right spot. Yeah. There we go. All right. Ready? There we go. All right, we're back in Hoogies Garage, and we are pleased to have Logan Schuhart with us tonight. Tell us a little bit about yourself and your family, Logan. I mean, a lot of people know, obviously, you've been around a while, but just give us an update or whatever.
Sure, so I came from a racing family. My grandfather, Bobby Allen, was a legend in our sport. He kind of got sprint car racing really happening back here. He's from Miami, Florida. Him and a few others came up from that area. Van May and them are from Texas, but he kind of came up this area in the later 60s. And like I said, he's a legend in our sport. He accomplished a lot in sprint car racing, won the Knoxville Nationals, hundreds of sprint car wins. So that's where, as a young kid, my passion for sprint car racing started. He owned a go-kart track when I was young, and I started racing go-karts competitively when I was about 8 years old. So been in it my whole life. It's something I've always wanted to do, and I've had a very supportive family. A lot of people that helped get me to this point. They've showed up to a lot of races. They still show up to as many races as they can and support me in every way they can. So it's still a family operation. My grandfather owns a race team. My teammate is, he's technically he's my uncle, Jacob Allen. He's running the Chili Bowl tomorrow. So we've it's a family operation and one of the only ones at this kind of level. So proud of what we've built and everything that we have going on for sure.
Yeah, so this last year we were at Knoxville, and God, there was a rowdy group right behind us, and I'm pretty sure that was the Logan Schuhart family. They were pretty pumped.
I would believe it. I've heard they get pretty rowdy. It's my mom, Summer, all them. They definitely, if something exciting happens, you don't want to get too close to them. You might catch a backhand or something. From what I hear, I always tell people, I'm like, why doesn't somebody put a
celebration? They were wanting to get down there.
Yeah, like why doesn't somebody put a video on them? Because I'd love to see it sometime.
All right, well, if they sit in the same section, we stay in the same spot, maybe they'll be there again this year. We'll get a video for you. Yeah, well, they must be having something during the race, too, because they go up and down the steps more than anybody else.
Yeah.
But I take it you're watching the Chili Bowl tonight. Have you ever raced in the Chili Bowl?
I have not raced in the Chili Bowl.
What's your take on the Chili Bowl?
I think it's a really cool event. Right now it's so cold. You can't race like you guys said up where you're at. There's no racing going on in Husets Speedway, that's for sure. So,
snowmobile races pretty soon in March. We're having snowmobile races at
yeah, there you go. So I mean, I think it's pretty awesome. I think it's cool. I went to Australia for a few years. Loved making that trip, racing for John Weatherall. I had a lot of fun, and was able to get some seat time. But I think it's just something cool to happen at this time of the year that we can get all those race car drivers in one spot and they're racing. So I think racing together anyways. From all different disciplines. So I think it's pretty neat, and I enjoy watching it for sure.
Any desire to participate in it ever, or just prefer watching them?
So I would definitely like to run it one day to say that I did it. The opportunities haven't really been there. It's you race for 10,000 to win, and I come from, like I said, a family operation that's we're fortunate enough to be able to get big sponsors like Dryden and Relodyne and Duramax, but at that level, you were able to race for big money and win some back, and I race for a living. But the Chili Bowl, it's it pays 10,000 to win. I think it's an awesome event. It gets so many cars and so much attention. But the rides that I've been offered are just like anybody else can get, and you get to pay $6, $7, $8 to do it, and that just doesn't for me it doesn't make sense. So I would enjoy racing there. I think it looks like a lot of fun, but the opportunity would have to be right.
Sure. So the outlaw season, is obviously, it's a crazy amount of travel and everything else. So, you take this, maybe 2 months, basically, is it just to unwind and enjoy life a little bit, or what do you do in the off season besides work on the cars and get them ready?
Yeah, so our race shop's right down the street. I live 2 miles away from our race shop, from my grandfather's. And Brendan Collum, Tyler Garber have been out there working very hard all winter long to get our stuff ready. And I'm out there. I help, but those guys do a lot of the work. Just stuff that you don't get to do throughout the year is normally what I'm doing now. Spending time with family. We got the holidays, and really it goes quick. After Charlotte, I spend a little bit of time in November hunting. I enjoy hunting. A lot of my family's into whitetail hunting, so I do that for a good part of November, and then you got the holidays. So month of January is kind of really focused on getting back to it. We're still, like I said, at the shop in November and December, and November's tearing cars apart, selling stuff. And then, December's starting to get ready, ordering parts, and then they're starting to come in January, and we're putting everything together and loading the trailer up, and before you know it, we're heading to Florida. So that's the part of the process that we're in right now.
So going back to the hunting, did you get yourself a wall hanger this year or anything, or not a good year?
I did not. I put a deposit down. I'm going to Ohio next year, and so right after Charlotte, I'm heading out to Ohio. Maybe a little bit better chance. I spent a lot of time in the woods this year, and didn't really see anything. But I got some meat in the freezers. But I didn't. It's just a doe, and I'm not the one that shot it. So I got some meat to cook some steaks out this year on the road, but that's about it.
We got a guy that comes to the garage every week too, sits here and watch. He's into deer hunting pretty hard. Yeah, he did the trophy hunting for a while, and then it was a doe to get meat in the freezer. So he saw one and he couldn't shoot it, but he said it was probably the biggest deer he's ever seen in his life. And of course, he was waiting for a chance to keep shooting that one, So
yeah, that's how it goes. That's why I think I'm going to Ohio, and that's my hopeful deal of getting something nice. But Pennsylvania, I'm going to treat as soon as something walks in front of me, it's getting whacked. So getting some meat in the freezer.
There you go. You bet. So getting a little bit back into your racing, I read that your first time in a go-kart was when you were 2 years old. Is that true?
So my grandfather, he owned Speedway 94. It was called Allen's Kartway when I was a kid. Go-kart facility for the public, and that's kind of where I learned to race. My grandfather used to set up cones. I was kind of talking about this the other day with some people of how he taught Jacob and I to run the correct way on the racetrack, how to keep your momentum up, and run with random people, random customers, to kind of pass them the right way without running into them and setting them up and that kind of stuff. And it definitely was very helpful, and it's how I got my start in racing. But he put me on those cars that they had there when I was really, really young. So they'd put packs of toilet paper behind my back, so I'd sit up further and put blocks of wood on the pedals so I could reach the pedals. When I was about 2, 3 years old, so about as long as I could walk, I was driving something. So I've been doing it for a long, long time.
Do what you have to get it to go around the track. That's the main thing.
That's right.
So what did you get into then? What were you running, say, your first competitive race? Was it still in go-karts, or was it the micros, or how did that all go for you?
So I went right from go-karts to sprint cars, limited sprint cars here in Pennsylvania. But I started racing go-karts competitively when I was 8 years old at a track called Husets Speedway, not too far from here. And I raced there until I was about 15. We did do some WK races, some state races, national races. We did that for a year. But back when I raced, it wasn't. I think that they have a lot more money races now than what they used to. And my grandfather sold a lot of the parts that he had left from his sprint car days for us to go race go-karts on a national level. So we only did it for 1 year, and we're pretty successful. We won Daytona. It was one of the biggest go-kart races at the time. Won state championships, state races, and really enjoyed that. So it's kind of how I got my start in competitive racing, and had a lot of fun doing that. Some of my best memories were racing go-karts as a kid with my family, and had a lot of fun. So did that up until I was about 15 years old, and then when actually the first car I was ever in was Aaron Ott's 25 car, Don Ott's 25 car, and Aaron and Don went to the mountains and offered for my grandfather and I to take Aaron's car out the trailways, and got my first start when I was 14 years old. I ran one race at the very end of the year. So Don gave me my first sprint car ride, and then the following year it's kind of the same thing. A man named Rick Horn, who my grandfather built a chassis for. It was I think it was too short for him. He's kind of a taller guy, and the chassis was too short for him. He offered my grandfather to drive it, and my grandfather said that he was too old. He didn't want to. He had no interest in doing it anymore. That he'd like to see his grandson get in it if he could, and Rick ended up letting me run it. So I ran 2 races at the end of I think that would have been 2008 or something like that. I was 15 years old, so I ran two races at the end of the season there when I was 15, and then when I was 16, we got our own car together and ran it about 20 races. So kind of trickled on up from there and built the race team up, and it's still a family operation, still the same race team, a lot of the same people involved.
That's one of the neatest things about your whole race operation, like you said, the family thing. The racing, we've said it several times in different shows, the family aspect of racing is huge. But when it's your family is your whole race team, just about, you could say that's an amazing thing, really.
It is, right around the corner. I could almost throw a football to a shop. Michael Newman builds our engines, so our engines are basically built in house. My grandfather is a team owner. My stepdad, Bill Klingbeil, he does all our PR work, helps manage the race team, does a fantastic job. My mom and Summer, my girlfriend Summer, sell T-shirts throughout the year. So it's definitely a family operation. And then for those who aren't physically working on the car or working for the race team, are showing up to the track as much as possible and supporting us in every way they can. So very, very much so a family operation.
Yeah, that's absolutely awesome. The last 3 years with the World of Outlaws, I have you down with 8 wins, 7 wins, 7 wins. You guys have definitely taken it to the top. What is it that you need to do to just break through and get that championship?
We need to cut out the mechanical failures is what we need to do. The year that we finished second in the standings, we basically didn't fall out of very many races at all. The very few that we did fall out of were mistakes that I made, 1 or 2 that I ran into the wall, racing for the lead. And, that's things like Donnie and Brad that, once you get to that level, sometimes a second, third, or fourth is better than going for the win and taking a chance at crashing your car, because you look at the big picture. So, unless it's the Knoxville Nationals, the Kings Royal, which aren't points races anyways, they're just show-up races. But that's the difference. And in the last 2 years, I feel like we're much better as a team. We're faster. Our knowledge of the racetracks and the race cars themselves are much better. But we've had some mechanical issues the last 2 years that have caused us DNFs, and at the outlaw level, you can't have DNFs. We can win races. We won as many races as Brad Sweet did last year, and he won the championship, but he fell out of 0 races, and we fell out of 7 or 8 races. So that to me, that's the difference. It's not that they're faster than us. Our speed's there. We just got to limit those mistakes and figure out how to keep ourselves on the racetrack and finishing up front.
Consistency.
That's right.
Yep.
All right. We're going to take a quick break, and we'll be right back.
Sounds good.
All right.
Yeah, you were talking about Sweet, up at Husets at the High Bank Nationals one time. I don't know how the hell they did that, but somehow they put coil-over shocks on the front of it after he flipped over. And I don't know, how many teams keep coil-over shocks on their pit cart?
I'm not sure. It's a good question, but it's smart on their part to do that. So we don't have that option. We don't do that, but I actually didn't see that, so it's interesting that you said that. They are very good about changing the front end, and they can change the front end very quick. We've tried to get pretty fast at that. Got a couple new crew guys this year. Brendan Collum has some experience with Shark Racing. Tyler Garber's been with Jake for a lot of years now, 4 or 5 years. But we'll see. We might have to have some. My grandfather's talked about it, some like NASCAR pit stops, and act like we just knocked out a front end and hit the timer and see how fast our guys can change the front end. But we've never got to that where we're doing it this time of the year. There's always other stuff going on.
Yeah, because I got an old push truck that I take up to Husets all the time. So then when them things happen, then if I'm not behind the car, then if we're just one guy tips over, they bring him to the work area, then I can walk over there and check it out a little bit. Stay out of the way, obviously. I don't want to get run over or get hollered at, but it's always kind of fun to watch. It's amazing. It's, everybody's got their own specific little thing they're supposed to do, and it's a lot of fun. But anyway, we'll get back to the show before we ramble on too long here. I keep talking. All right. Bud's still typing, so.
I'm just moving stuff around.
Okay.
All right, we'll get back. Here we go. All right, we're back here with Logan. Logan, you Australia a time or two, correct?
I have. I actually went over for 3 years. I think it would have been 17, 18, and 19. So.
Did that help you during that time? I mean, was that just more track time for you, or what's the difference when you're over there? From what I hear, it's like an all-night party when you're done racing.
The group I was with wasn't totally that way. John Weatherall's in his mid-70s, owned the car, and was with a older group of guys that weren't totally into staying out partying. But we had fun. We had a good time every night. Saw a lot of really cool places. Hung out in the Gold Coast. Went surfing, and went to the zoo and just sightseeing as much as possible. So we had fun that way, and I really enjoyed it. Memories that I'll have for a lifetime, and really became close with those guys. And but I really enjoyed going over there. I think the racing's really good. You have a lot of great race car drivers that come from Australia. The competition's tough, and a lot of short tracks, comparable to California. I feel like there are a lot of, cowboy up, rough, picking the front end up kind of thing. As a driver, it's definitely good. I think you going over there and knocking the rust off and keeping yourself with that mentality that you have all year long. But sometimes, myself as a kind of crew chief mechanic, I'd say there's pros and cons to it. The tires were different. They ran dished wings, and over here our wings are flat. Our Hoosier tires are different now. It sounds like everywhere that's going to run Hoosier tires is going to have the same compound. But then they ran different tires, and they're much different from ours. The sidewalls are very soft. Ours are very stiff, kind of like boards, and the setups are a little bit different. So I felt like there was pros and cons to it. Sometimes I'd be worried that it'd teach me bad habits as far as a crew chief's concerned, and as far as setting my own car up when I came back home. But as far as a driver and keeping yourself fresh, I thought it was very good to go over there and get some laps.
Yeah. So one of the news items been out lately. It's with Sweet, Sheldon, and Reitzel that they're not going to make it over there to even race something with their visas. You never had any trouble getting over there when you went, did you? Or?
No, it was pretty simple then. That was part of why I haven't gone back. I feel like they've made it more difficult, but and plus, it's kind of a critical time of the year as far as getting our own stuff together, working in the shop and preparing. My ultimate goal is always to win a World of Outlaw championship and to compete at the highest level with my race team. So my main concern is making sure that's ready to go before anything else. So and also, like I said, at this time of the year, I went over. I missed Christmas for the first year. I went over New Year's, all that stuff. So I'm away all year long. I enjoy spending time with my family and seeing everybody that I see when I am over here and getting to have those experiences with them. So I get to race all year long, and I'm fortunate to do that. So I enjoy having this time to kind of spend the time with them and be home a little bit.
Yep. You spend a little time in the woods doesn't hurt either.
No, I like that.
But I did see one of your posts or whatever. I see you pretty much got the car ready to go already, so that's a good thing. You're not scrambling the last week trying to get things done.
No, we're ahead of the game this year, and we can't usually say that. So we have one car together. That's actually the car that I finished the year with, but we kind of knew, where everything was at the end of 2022. Fortunate that Relodyne, Dryden, Duramax, C&D rigging all are hopping back on board. Excited to partner back up with us, and we're very excited about what the future holds. So we were knowing what we were in for this winter and could kind of plan everything out better. So we're kind of ahead of the game, which is nice. So we have a spare car up in the top of the trailer the other week. We put that up there, and we're actually building 2 more cars, and then the one that was posted online was actually the car that I finished the season with. So it just got painted up different, looks nice, and that one's ready to rock in Florida.
You bet. You bet. Do you have any other big news for 2023 or anything that you can share with us that's going to be different?
Not at the moment that I can think of. Same stuff. I mean, you saw the photos on social media, what our car looks like, who's on there. We might have some news coming up with some special races that, some different people that might be on the car, but I don't think I'm allowed to announce that yet, and it's not for sure. So, but it'll be pretty neat, and I'm looking forward to getting the season started.
You bet. You bet.
So this year, pretty much doing well. Hopefully, you're going to win more races. Be more consistent. But are you doing anything different? I mean, are you just pretty much everything going to be the same as it was last year, as far as chassis, motors, and that sort of stuff?
Yeah, I mean, we always tweak, small things to, all our manufacturers are the same. DMI has helped us a ton. Wing Dynamics, Smith Titanium, Newman's Racing Engines, FK Shocks, Triple X chassis. So we're running the same stuff. TJ Forged wheels, but we tweak some things here and there that we feel like could have helped us at certain areas of the country or certain racetracks or certain conditions. Changing wings around, wheels, shocks just a little bit. Being prepared for different scenarios, but that's why you take notes at every racetrack. I have notes since I started racing the World of Outlaw Tour. Once I got to that level, I knew it's going to have to be better about that. So we take notes and experiences from each racetrack and the conditions, and what time of the year we're there, and how we qualify the heat race, all that stuff, and what we felt like we could have done better, and then you go back and you do it again next time. So I'm hoping we can improve on that. Like you said, we've been in that 8-7 range of wins the last few years. So my goal last year was to get in that double digit mark, and I'm it's competitive as ever. I think you had so many teams last year. I think did one car get double digits? Was the 41 car the only one, or did the 17 too? I'm not totally sure, but
I ain't gonna guess either because I can't remember. But yeah, the competition, you can't. If you're a gambling man, it's really hard to pick who's going to win on any given night with the Outlaws right now.
Yes, everyone's just so even. I feel like the cars are so even, the parts are even. We ran the same tires for a lot of years. I am looking forward to running a little bit different tires this year. I think it'll make everybody start fresh a little bit. They're not going to be too far off. But it's not like when I first started racing, the first 2014, 15, 16, as far as the World of Outlaw Tour goes, Donnie Schatz and Ricky Warner together were winning 25, 30 races, and I don't know if you're going to see that for a while, for somebody to be that dominant. Sometimes a little bit of luck can go your way. You see certain cars seem like they're always drawing the pole for the dash and stuff like that, but that's about as far as it goes. As far as their car being that much faster, the driver being that much better than everybody else, I don't know if you're going to see that anytime soon. It's just very competitive.
I agree with you 100% that those years are gone, and like Steve Kinser's win record, the total wins, I don't see anybody ever catching that because, he won 20 plus races for how many years in a row just about, and you're never going to see that again, I don't think.
No, I mean, Donnie was on, winning similar races for a few years, but, I mean, nobody will ever catch Steve Kinser for sure.
No.
There's no way, but...
No, that's too far out there.
So, has the World of Outlaws relayed to the drivers yet how they're going to handle this 4 races? What races don't actually count against you? Like the $1 million race at Eldora. Has that been released to you guys as drivers yet on what's going on there?
No, it hasn't. I hope that they don't count the the million is, or their rule states that you can't run you can't run a race within 48 hours or 24 hours of one of their events within 100 miles or something like that. So that does, Eldora would count as that if they go by the rules. But I hope they don't. I think that'd be very unfair on their part. As far as everything that was going on with High Limit and the World of Outlaws, since the beginning, I'd like to see the sport growing. I don't think competition is a bad thing. I think it's a good thing. Compared to the Live Golf Tour and the PGA, but it's kind of different. But I think it's a good thing. I've always thought I was on the World of Outlaws side. I enjoy racing for the World of Outlaws. I want them to, it's not even that type of competition. I think they are the best of the best. The drivers, the teams, the organization. I think it's the highest level of sprint car racing. As a kid, that's where I always wanted to be, and that was to me always the highest form of sprint car racing, and that's where I wanted to stay for a long time. So, but I think, being able to run other races and helping the teams out when you're raining out races and be able to hit a race here for 25,000 or 50,000, I think that's a good thing. And like I said, I felt like I stuck up for the Outlaws since the beginning. I feel like they have us in their best interest. Obviously, they're going to take care of themselves, but I think they're pretty good at the race teams and building their brand and keeping us at that level.
Yeah, no, absolutely.
So, you were talking about racing for a long time with Will Oz. What are your plans going forward? Do you have something? I mean, you're kind of in your prime right now, you can almost say. You looking, 5 years, 10 years, you want to keep racing with the Outlaws, or haven't really thought that far yet?
I plan on racing as long as I can, so I get up, I go for a run every day and try and keep myself in shape and try and learn the best I can. I get on iRacing sometimes because I know that's what all these teenagers and stuff are going to be doing. It's what makes them sharp or learning. We can't get in a car in the middle of, like you guys said, in the middle of January and go test a car somewhere. So the next best thing would be to get on that thing and run some laps and try and just keep yourself sharp. So I try to be the best I can as far as my fitness, maybe getting on iRacing, learning new things about the car, whatever, looking at notes, watching Dirt Vision, kind of studying. And no, I plan to do this for a long time. It's been my dream. It's where my heart's always wanted to be. I want to win a World of Outlaw championship. I want to win multiple World of Outlaw championships, So I'm 30 years old. I feel like I have a long time in this sport yet, and I look forward to it. So it's where I want to be for a long time.
He's a lot like us, bud, with that physical fitness stuff. You and me do a lot of that.
You do them 12-ounce curls?
Well, possibly.
That's all right. Me too sometimes.
Well, with me and Bud, though, we're pretty laid back. His is Diet Coke and mine's Pepsi. Neither one of us drink beer, but we drink plenty of pop. So, which is probably worse for us than beer. But,
All right. Logan, if there's something we didn't cover that you want to mention before we go, we're going to go through some speed questions here, and then feel free to say anything else that you want to at the end of the show. So, but we know you're a busy guy. We don't want to take any more of your time. So, what's your favorite flavor of ice cream?
What's one with chocolate and peanut butter inside? I'd say like Moose Tracks. Isn't that like chocolate peanut butter and stuff? Chocolate peanut butter, you can't go wrong with that.
Sounds great to me. Are you a cat or dog person?
Dog, definitely. I got 2 bulldogs, Bubba and Pearl.
And then hobbies. Obviously, you like to hunt. Is there anything you do other than hunting for hobbies?
Yeah, I'd say hunting's my, obviously other than racing, as far as a hobby, hunting's probably my favorite. Golf's a close second. Yeah, I guess it depends. This year I didn't shoot a deer and I was out in the woods a lot. So I enjoy just being out there, sitting in the woods, seeing nature. But when you don't see anything for a while, that gets old pretty quick, and then the golf starts to overtake the hunting. So I got into that during COVID, so I enjoy golfing, hunting. I'd say that's my hobbies.
See, when Job and I go golfing, we see nature. We're in the woods all the time.
Yeah.
But all that hunting, you don't get something every time. I mean, I go pheasant hunting around
Oh, there you
here,
go.
and there's days, you don't have to worry about cleaning the gun when you go home. It's just you haven't shot it, so.
Yeah, it happens. Hey, I was out probably 25, 30 times this year in the woods, and I enjoy bow hunting a lot better, but I didn't draw my bow back one time in the woods, so I feel you, man.
Yep. Yeah, that's not a good year, but it's still more fun than a lot of things in life. Just sitting out there enjoying it.
That's right.
Do you have a favorite movie by chance?
Favorite movie? First one that comes to mind is the Johnny Cash movie. What they call it? Is they Walk the Line? That's the first one that comes to mind. I like Johnny Cash.
Do you prefer snow or rain?
Snow.
That's good. If you were
More fun.
This is a music question. If you're stranded in an island, what type of music would you have to take with you?
What do you call Tyler Childers? Because he's probably my favorite right now. He's like a country bluegrass kind of thing. I like Tyler Childers.
Okay. There you go. That's good.
Do you have a favorite place to go out to eat at?
Probably Longhorn Steakhouse.
There you go.
How about a favorite holiday?
Favorite holiday? Probably Thanksgiving. You get to spend time with everybody, but you don't have to worry about all the extra stuff.
Yep.
Except for all my aunts and all the girls, they gotta make all the food, so it's probably a little stressful for them. So, but but I enjoy Thanksgiving.
What app on your phone do you use the most?
App on my phone do I use the most? Probably Instagram.
There you go. How many speeding tickets do you have, Logan?
4 or 5. I think the last one I got was in a rental minivan on the way back from Bridgeport.
A minivan, no less.
Yeah.
Oh, they're not supposed to pull people over in a minivan.
No, I thought if you look like a soccer mom or something, you'd be good to go, but they got me.
So, what's the fastest you've ever driven on the highway?
Oh, I don't know. I had a 2001 Ford Mustang Bullet. I used to have to see what that thing had every once in a while. I don't know. I definitely had it over 120, but I don't know. It's not like I looked over that thing like I did in a sprint car. So I got up to that speed and I thought, I don't know what's gonna fall off of this thing. So I probably backed her down.
Don't have time to look at the speedometer and that speed on the highway.
Yeah.
What's your favorite drink? Alcoholic, whatever, it don't matter.
Favorite drink? Just a regular, probably sweet tea. But if we're going out and having some drinks, I like the Wild Turkey American Honey. That's my favorite. If I'm celebrating a win or something, that's the route I go down.
Right there. That's good. The last question for you. If money was no object, is there a certain car or pickup or something that you would love to have?
69 Camaro for sure. That's always been my dream car. Yeah, I don't think much can beat that for me. I mean, there's a lot of cool cars, definitely, now with all the technology and stuff and new stuff they come out with. It'd definitely be fun. But if money was an object, I'd probably find the coolest 69 Camaro that I could find, the rarest one, and that'd be what I'd go for.
And you would need money to get one of them, too, because everybody seems to like them.
One question we had forgotten to ask you, so I lied. I'm going to go back to one question. Does the number on your car mean anything to you or the family?
So basically, just my grandfather was 1A in his career. That's what he's always ran. So when I was racing go-karts competitively as a kid, I actually started out as 1A also. And then somebody said, his last name isn't Allen. Why don't you make him 1S? So I started putting 1S on my car when I was a kid, and then not too long after, Jacob started racing, and obviously he was going to run 1A. So we've both been 1S and 1A since we were little kids.
Well, good then that you were able to switch.
You bet. Logan, thanks so much for coming on. I don't know if there's something else you want to say or something like that we didn't cover, but thanks again for coming on.
Yeah, anytime, guys. I appreciate it. Thanks for having me. It was nice to get on and talk to y'all, and we'll have to do it again sometime.
Yeah. We'll definitely stop by and say hi when you get up here to Husets for the high banks.
All right, sounds good. Look forward to it. 250,000 win this year.
That'd be fun to put in the pocket, wouldn't it?
No kidding.
All right. Thanks again, Logan.
All right, thanks, guys. Have a good one.
You too. Bye-bye.
All right, that was the Hoogies Garage Podcast, and enjoyed talking to these guys. So if you liked the video and enjoyed listening, like, subscribe below, and see you next time.